recently sent my first Kilter board V10 Daim. I worked on it a lot. I put in, I think, 11 sessions. Some of those, a lot of learning happened, and some of those, a lot of frustration was had. But I do think I learned quite a bit from projecting something for so long and sending. Horrible first attempt.
I can't generate. Am I not doing the bicep enough? Something else? Am I just not going hard enough? Twist.
So I say, like, I ask if I'm not doing the bicep enough, and that's probably true. I have this habit of pulling towards a move and only imparting enough momentum that I think will get me to the hold, but becoming loose on the path towards the position I want to end up in. And I struggle with that a lot on this first move, even on subsequent attempts.
Yeah!
So that was better. I just didn't, like, I reached it, I just didn't grab the hold.
Yeah!
But just trying the next move.
Yeah, lock it off. Lock. Yes.
So there, my buddy Andy says to lock it off. And he's right. So I'm holding this position okay, but this is not really conducive to where I want to go because I'm over biasing my left arm when I should be pushing more off of my right foot in order to give me the distance.
Lock. Yes.
Yeah, you can see how what I really want to do here is just have a strong enough bicep to, like, one arm into the next position, but that's really hard.
Yes, dude, come on. Perfect, dude, perfect. Push. Oh.
So that was a lot better for that move. You can see, like, I'm still using, like, a pretty, like, hard, like, lock off on the left arm in order to get to the position, but you can see that my hips are moving, whereas in the prior attempt the hips were in the same position, but I was trying to still reach the hold. So obviously more successful using more of your body.
Perfect.
And then this move felt insane for a long time. Which goes into one of the lessons about not accidentally accomplishing a move. But we'll get there.
Yeah, perfect, dude. Come on. Push. Yeah.
There is pretty close, but I don't quite understand the mechanic that I should be executing now. Like, my hips are really low, I'm not really engaged through it, I'm really just flexing the toe over here, which is why it kind of just pops off. And this particular attempt ends up giving me a false sense of confidence for how close I am really to the whole boulder. And this was on, I think, the second session, maybe still the first, actually. So 11 more to go. So that attempt was really good. Just piecing together the sequence. But I do it accidentally. There's something I am doing with my right arm here that I don't realize for a really long time. See if you can spot it. It's kind of a read my mind thing. So I successfully stick this move, and it's just another reason that I think I'm really close, and I'm not that close. Falling there was really funny. So again, I haven't really learned the lesson or learned the mechanic that I need to execute, because I make the same mistake here of trying to reach, and my hips don't move. They don't move into the right position, which is just a little bit more, which is something that my right leg is supposed to helping me get into, right? So just because I've done the move before doesn't mean I've actually fully understood how to do the move. And this is what I just call accidentally doing the move. So you really want to make sure that you really know and understand the nuances of how to get to the next position, and not think that you've just like checked off the box for, oh, I've done that move now, okay, now I can move on. There's probably still something there for you to learn. The high point so far from the bottom, and here is still, I think I'm getting the hips over a little bit more, but I'm still just trying to reach the hold with my hand. And as you hear a lot of climbers, I remember Shauna Coxey was talking about this in one of the recent World Cups, where she's always talking about where your hips are, and where your hips are will dictate what the rest of your body is able to do. So if we zoom in on that aspect of my hip positioning, it's making, like, even if I did get my fingertips into this weird Gaston, it becomes much more of a muscly move that is indicating how I'm over biasing my upper body and my arms in order to do what I want to do, which is to get into that position, rather than the smarter thing, which is to push through your leg in order to get your hips over. Yeah, so this next sequence is just a montage of me not really sticking the first move. I think it's like at least 3 times. So I finally stick it, but then fall very shortly afterwards. And that's just to show, it's just another example of the same concept. I wouldn't say at this point that I was accidentally doing the first move, but this is more about understanding how the move can be accomplished, or how you can accomplish the move, and not fooling yourself into thinking that it is now easy, or that you don't have to show up as much now to do the move. You have to show up just as much as any other successful time. Yeah, before we get to that next one, really good attempt here. Really trying to piece together everything properly. This I think I'm still, the hips are helping much better, and my right shoulder is getting closer to directly beneath this Gaston, so I'm able to kind of salvage it, even though I feel that I've hit it suboptimally, and you can see me pull up into it here. Yeah, and then I fall. And that next sequence becomes the crux, the thing that I have to do the most learning on, I think, for this boulder. So it's been a while since the clip where I asked if you can see what my arm is doing. You can see that what I have in my mind is that I want to have infinite lock-off strength on the right arm, so that I can like bias my shoulder and like reach over my plumb line. But after many attempts of this, and you can see it happening here, it doesn't work. I'm not really executing the foot mechanic here. I'm pushing against it, but I'm allowing my hips to sag. So instead of building a solid bridge throughout my entire body, from my left toe through my right hand, I'm really just building a bridge from my leg to my hip, and then from my hip to my arm. So that disconnect and that hip sag is what, on this particular go, leads to the unsuccess. So here I think is an example of accidentally doing the mechanic. I think I'm just trying what I was doing harder, and it happened to work, but that's, in this case, I don't really think that's learning this move. But it does enable me to figure it out, and we'll see it happen. So this session, I get very frustrated from these first two attempts because I had stuck the move the last session. So I was like, okay, I should be able to do it consistently now. So I start realizing that I'm not doing it consistently. So I really stop and think, what needs to be happening for this move to be successful? So here, I'm miming the thing where what I want to execute is to reach over in this manner. And I'm seeing how difficult that is. So the first go, I'm realizing that I need to lengthen my arm, like essentially doing a negative and maintaining tension in the right arm as I lengthen so that I get more of my center of gravity underneath the sloper for the left hand. And what I'm realizing isn't working is this thing where I'm trying to maintain myself in a locked off position with my right arm and like reach over. And I'm just starting to notice the pattern of this is not successful, and when it has been, it hasn't been consistent. So I don't necessarily always do the move from this point on, but this is when I really learn what needs to happen. So I think this one actually is an attempt from the bottom, and that grunt was one of excitement.
Come on.
Oh, the desperation, you can hear it.
Come on. Oh. Come on, Caleb. Come on. Come on.
That was the second attempt in a row, right after the last attempt of getting to the last move. I get there again, but I'm not really doing a few things right here. If we look at my hips again, you can see when I launch, they move up a little bit, but as soon as my left hand comes off, they're kind of just twisting in place, and they're not actually helping me go up. And even though my right leg straightens out, it's not actually helping me go up. Yeah. Sometimes you just have those days. I kind of got it in my head that, you know, once I've learned the move or the sequence that I should be like 100% consistent. But that's not always the case, and it's kind of an impossible standard to hold yourself to. You will just have days, like basically everything fluctuates day to day. Your mood, your strength, your ability to perform, and sometimes those don't line up in a way that manifests and ascend, and you should be okay with that. And there's not really any use in beating yourself up about, oh, I've learned this, or I'm such and such level of climber, or I've learned this move already. Probably any single move has approaching an infinite amount of subtlety and nuance. Don't let yourself be fooled into thinking you are now worse or you didn't actually learn the thing. Sometimes it's just hard to show up. And I think that's what I'm communicating here by laying on the floor after the fall. Sometimes it's just hard, and sometimes it's just not the day, and you need to be able to recognize that. Yeah, same thing here. It just wasn't the day. This is another move that I learn. It's not that I've accidentally did it or that I didn't learn it. That day was just hard to show up. So doing what was required was asking more than I could give that day. So I think this is from the bottom. You can hear the sad no cry for the last second of that. But just tired, not willing to fully commit. Both of those attempts, I have these clips named bad undercling, so that's me not fully getting the hold correctly. Yeah, you can kind of see my fingers aren't quite on it.
Hitting it bad. Fuck. Yes, come on. Oh, yeah! Oh, dude. Literally, my favorite song from this band. That feels good. Oh.
Oh yeah, dude.
I got the thinking, I was like, dude, this is fucking it.
Yeah, I saw the video.